Hi, good afternoon Paul, and welcome to this brief bit of video footage we're going to do. I'm Jez Earnshaw, COO of Alford Technologies. This is Paul Rigg, our Director Training and one of our lead technical experts in EOD and bond disposal. Paul, we've got here today a range of Alford charges, all of which are user filled, and really I'd just like you to discuss with me and explain to me the advantages of user filled charges over factory filled, if you could do that for me.
There's a number of reasons you might want to user filled, Jez, and one of the main reasons I always think is the ability to match the tool to the target you're dealing with. So for example, this is one of our better known pieces of equipment, the Vulcan, and it's user filled. It comes with these tools for loading it, and this particular one which allows you to measure 20 grams of a plastic explosive. So with this particular tool, with it being user filled, you can match your explosive load and then choose a particular projectile which can give you a low order effect against a known munition, and that's something you just can't achieve with a single item if it's pre-factory filled, Jez.
Gotcha. So what you're saying really is that a user-filled tool allows you tactical flexibility to match your weapon system to the target that you find on the ground at any given time.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if that's a low-order effect, or if it's a high-order effect through a particular hard case, then if you know the parameters of that weapon and you know the history of dealing with those sort of weapon systems before, then you can match your tool to that particular target.
Okay.
That goes on. Obviously, that's a conventional munition disposal item, but that goes on for IDD as well. So this is a bottle of light 1 litre, and you can see we've got the whole range of the different type of bottlers there. But just taking this particular one, we supply this with 3 different fillers inside, so you can do different NEQs. So you can have a 80 gram, you can have a 40 gram, or you can have a 20 gram load. And actually, if you wanted to go further, if you're particularly technical, you could cut these down and reduce those loads further. But what that enables you to do is to practice and train with an item like this and work out what the best NEQ is to give you a disruptive effect, maximising your forensic recovery against a set number of targets.
So once again, user experience and training will lead to maximum effect for minimum explosive quantity.
Absolutely, not just maximum effects, but the right effects, which gives you maximum forensic recovery, attack network, things like that.
Okay, presumably because they're all user-filled charges we're talking about today, there are no logistical issues with transportation around the world.
And that's absolutely right. That brings me on to the other items, the other advantages of user-filled, which is, as you say, it's a piece of plastic. You can ship it all around the world without any limitations. But the other one that comes with that is if you're a military that takes a particular amount of time to get a safety case for an item to bring it into service, these will be a lot easier for you to bring into service than a factory filled item, and that's because they use the explosives which you already have in service, and it's just a matter of putting the charge together. So rather than having to do a safety case for a whole new item, you just have it for the explosive that you've already got in service.
Okay, so all of these tools we're talking about here today have been designed with standard in-service plastic explosive in mind. So wherever I go in the world, I should be able to get hold of issued or production plastic explosive and they will work fine.
Absolutely, I've taken most of these tools all around the world and worked with different militaries and different types of explosives, and they've all worked. Now some plastic explosives we know it's got poor plasticizement, some C4 derivatives which are difficult to load and due to the age, the temperature and the plasticizers, but it'll still work. It'll just take you longer to work with some plastic explosives, that's all.
That's great. And the third tool we're talking about here today?
So the other tool that I selected in this 3 was just a demo mod. Now this is a disruptor for IDD, but instead of using an omnidirectional effect as the bottlers, it uses directional effect. And again, you can tailor the amount of explosive in this to achieve whatever effect you like. So this one usually would take a plastic sheet explosive in there, but instead of filling this entire void, you could just put a smaller piece of plastic explosive in, or sheet explosive in, to get a less violent effect. And by training with that, you can decide how much explosive is required to defeat a particular type of IED, by then achieving disruption without over-penetrating, potentially causing a high order event.
Okay, so it strikes me that the main advantages here are operational tactical flexibility, the logistic ease for transportation around the world. Also, there is, to me, the added benefit that until you commit the explosive to loading the tool, you still have bulk explosives, so you're not limiting your explosive to one sole use by bringing in a factory-filled variant.
Absolutely. I mean, you could load a number of tools for a mission, get onto a mission, and decide that you wanted to use that explosive a different way. You could absolutely recover the explosive from every one of these items, constitute it back together, and use it just as a straightforward demolition charge. So it does give you that.
Fantastic.
It does give you that advantage.
And I suppose the final thing to say, and I know you mentioned it a number of times briefly now, as with all EOD operations, as with all counter-IED operations, clearly training is key. Understanding the target, understanding the requirement you're looking for, then you can match the explosive quantity, the charge liner and the charge type to get the desired outcome.
Yeah, it's about understanding the threat or understanding what you're dealing with. The tools like Vulcan, it's about firing rough and gathering the data about what load, what liner and what standoff gives you the highest probability of achieving a low order event. We have a lot of that information that we can provide with the tools as well, but we also like feedback from our users that allow us to do that. And it's the same with IED tools as well, is train with it, work out what works best against a sort of known type of target, so you have you build up your knowledge about what NEQ is best for what type of mission you're going for, what type of IED you're up against.
Okay, well thank you very much indeed, Paul.